think my dogs have a plot to kill me.
All righty, we are officially live.
I heard like somebody cracking a farmer bed. Ooh, I do. Oh.
You're gonna have to move, buddy. Your mom gotta work now. Mommy gotta work. You have to move. You're gonna have to move because mommy gotta work.
We're still getting set up, dragging our Bob back into the garage.
All right.
We will actually start in just a moment. Sorry for being a little behind. But we can probably go ahead and start with our stretches now.
I agree.
So, Rennis, take us away.
All right, let's, since Greg's not here, we don't have to do like 50 of these. So we're going to go back and we'll do our 10s, 10, 15s of them. Let's get our good, both feet on the ground. There we go. And just our simple squats. Let's get those through. We'll do a little bit more stretching on legs today and in between. Before we do the pel work, then we'll do our arms and stuff like that. That way, those get stretched when we use them, or before we use them.
All the way down now.
I know you can actually almost practically sit on the floor with your knees.
I modified my fight pants yesterday so they properly fit over my knee armor, so I can like go all the way down now instead of stopping here because it's so tight. Practically cutting off circulation. Yay! Okay.
All right, let's warm up those ankles. Let's get some rolls on them. We're going to put more stuff, you know, these tend to use your ankles a little bit more. I'm not looking forward to the cement ground again today.
Yeah, well.
But
I'm looking forward to traction.
there you go.
Not high impact. That part will suck.
All right. So now let's go ahead and do our normal squats on the balls of your feet. This time we're going to keep that back nice and straight. Down. You're going to turn that foot cam on, I think.
Yep.
There we go.
That's a nice view of the feet and what they're doing.
I'm going to tuck my belts here. Go outside.
Get your tunic out the way.
Get my tunic out of the way. Everybody knows what these are by now. Nice and straight. You see heels off the ground, all the way up, and then extend those toes. Thank you. That's it. Extend. You'll see my feet wobble sometimes on this, and that's perfectly fine. That's the idea. That's what we want. It almost feel like you're doing toe-ups. Yours are calves for a lot of bursts. This is why I like things like box jumps and explosive exercises with your calves and legs help us a lot in fighting and range control.
If you have flat feet and or bunions, your feet will tend to roll out here, which will contribute to falling over. So something to watch for.
Might roll over a little.
Mine roll over real hard.
Oh, do they?
It makes it really.
These
And then because of the bunion, it hurts when I push them back over, so
Ah.
I have to find like just that right spot to balance and not hurt.
All right. So I had someone ask about sword shots the other day, and they sent me some video, and we went through some of the things they're doing. Just kind of broke down some of the things. One big thing is that we need to go ahead, get in your normal stance. We're going to rock all the way forward again, keeping that back nice and straight. Roll all the way on those toes, and then bring it back. Again, here we are. Get right on the camera. All the way forward. All the way back. You notice, again, this belt stays right in the same line the whole time on the camera. Okay, should be a ton of force on that toe and back. The reason I brought up the idea that I was watching some of these bell work, or sword blows specifically, is they were doing some movement, and some throwing, and one thing that they had a bit of a habit of is when they threw, they always either had a step or something like that. That's what this is for, right? This is so you can lean forward, throw a blow, come back. So keep that in mind. When you're doing your pel work sometimes, this is one of those exercises you need to think about. You know, it's not an exercise, we talk about it for warm-up, but this is literally, you know, here I am, bang, shot, I'm back into defense. Bang, shot, I'm back into defense. So when you're doing, and you can turn that foot on that shot, you notice, watch my back foot. Here I am, I turn it out, it'll freeze. When you allow that back foot to turn the heel out, it frees your hip to go farther forward.
And you're capable of throwing a shot from anywhere in that transition.
Exactly.
All the way at the back if you need to.
Yeah, I mean, we can throw here all the way to the back, or we can throw as we're going forward. But the idea is that sword's pushing forward as you're doing this is a passing step. But keep it in mind, this is an exercise or a drill you want to actually do on your pel. Find that like nice long range where you're even, you're like 50-50 on your feet. Figure if you can touch your pel, just barely. And then go ahead and sit onto your back one. You should gain about 4 or 5 inches. And then you extend forward 4 or 5 inches, hit that pel and come back. Bang, hit that pel, come back. Bang, hit that pel, come back. Bang. Again, you want the all from floor through hip, everything turning, extending to the pel. So we'll go through that a little bit more when we hit the pels today. Let's go to the other foot now.
And then once you've got the hang of doing that, just go forward, hit, come back, start moving around, change your range up, figure out how to throw at every point in that move.
So one of those keys is that a lot of people want to stand perfectly 50-50 while they're throwing at their opponent. And that's not always the range that we're going to be looking for. Usually, in fact, I look for my 50-50 point to be about 2 inches outside their range where they can almost feel comfortable. Because 2 inches is pretty easy to cover just with a small lean. So this is a good exercise. You can just flip back here. Take a look at some folks. Avogard, you look like you got your leg harness on, which is awesome. Good. Nice. All right, so I get to see everybody. Good. Turn that heel out. Ksenia, turn that heel out. When you, as you shift forward, shorten your legs up a little bit. There you go. So I usually go
a little long.
Yeah, so I usually go a little like heel to toe, if not maybe a little bit longer, but not much. And when the people talk about heel to toe is just if you bring your foot back all the way over to your other foot, it's almost the toe should touch the heel. That looks awesome. There we go. Nice, now turn that hip. There we go. You see, if you turn that heel out, you notice how your hip can. There we go. Good. Much better. We'll work on timing of that throw. Elfwin, that looks very nice. That's the idea. So really that idea is to make sure that you're able to manipulate the range much better as you're doing things. This is I brought it in as a strengthening exercise and a warm-up, but really this is something that when we fight, we're doing all the time. So the idea is where you know, I'm fighting somebody, if I'm fighting Bob here, just so everybody gets that feel, and then we'll break into some drills here in a minute, but I want to get this explained well, so everybody knows. Here we are, while I'm fighting Bob, I'm here. So if I reach, I just touch his nose. That's about as close as I want to get to almost anybody, because all I have to do now is shift over onto the front. Look how small this shift is. And then turn, and I'm right on the end of my sword. It's hardly anything. Right? So, but a lot of people, they want to be able to get 50-50 and be able to hit. Now when I shift, I'm way too close. So there's some manipulation, there's this idea of range that you have to change. Because most of us learn that range is, I gotta get right here so I can hit this guy. Well, now he can hit you too, and you can't use that flow forward to actually get more power and do all of those kinds of things. So when you first start this, go into your normal throwing range, throw a couple shots, and then step back 3 inches. And think about shifting and throwing. Again, be careful not to lean over. Those hips need to be nice and stacked. Shift and throw. And then go ahead and take another 3 inches back. Shift way forward and throw. You'll feel like, and then when you shift all the way back, you're so far away, they don't even believe that you're engaged. So, you know, this is one of those spaces where you're manipulating that range in a way that they don't understand well, but because it's part of your blow, it's something you can use. You know, it's something that's just natural to you and will flow better. So take this exercise, and anybody's welcome to say, hey, can you review some sword shots? And I'll tell you what I want. You can shoot them, and then we can take a look at them. But start out normal distance where you can throw even, step back 3 inches, lean forward, throw. Boom. These don't even have to, you know. The idea is that you get used to that, and that becomes the norm for you instead of, I have to be at a certain range. If you find yourself stepping, and I will ask, if you find yourself stepping to throw because you feel like you're not close enough, those are really dangerous scenarios. So we want to stay out of those. And I will make you count while you're doing your exercises. I'll make you count the number of times you step into a blow. Especially if I review fight video, I'll say, how many times did you step to hit somebody? Because a passing step for really far range, perfectly fine. A jab step to create a throw, that's perfectly fine. A stretch step leaves you vulnerable. So let's be careful about that. All right, off my soapbox.
All right, what's next?
Let's do it.
Oh, these.
Yep.
Yay! Ladder drills. Starting off, 2 foot run. 1, 2, 1, 2. Lead with the same foot. And then do it with your other foot.
Let's do it backward close. Either foot.
Okay. Oh.
Again, while you're doing falling backwards, your back should be nice and straight. So when you're falling backwards, you notice my back is straight here. All I'm doing is putting my butt into that angle. It's not this. All right?
Yep. Okie dokie. Get my handy dandy reference list.
Hey, we got the Louis cam.
Huh?
Is that we got the Louis cam?
We do?
Yeah.
It's hopscotch.
Oh.
Bess, don't laugh. I'm gonna probably make you run one of these one day.
It is hopscotch. Yay! So at the side, jump in. Stay as flat as you can.
Maybe I'll split that class between you and Elfwin.
Well, yeah, we could have a real fun exercise one day where someone different has to be the leader for every ladder drill.
And I do this, I mean,
explain it to everybody.
yeah, and I do this, like,
And demo.
this is a big thing for me, for people to understand how to do stuff, is if they teach it, you get a much better understanding.
They're gonna come up with these fun games because this is what he did to me.
And now she does it to me. She's like, I'm not going to be here. You run it. I'm like, oh, I can't run these. Making you laugh, huh?
Yeah. No, I had at least one person after the one that I wasn't here be like, Ron has tried running ladder drills and it wasn't the same.
I want to know names.
I can't remember. Back to the messages, it just cracked me up.
Nice,
Oh,
Abelard.
man. Yeah, we got people going backwards looking super smooth.
I know.
Okay. Up next, skiers with our basic drop, open, and gather. So this is our small side to side. We're having a foot in the ladder. Ronus is doing the big one already.
Not yet. I did the big one once, and I was like, I can make them a little smaller. You do another foot?
No, I'm just doing it faster.
Okay.
I'm doing once in slow demo mode and then once in slightly faster mode. And then we can do backwards. So again, the same thing backwards that he was talking about is we're not sticking our butt out, we're not doing this.
That's right, and I'm watching this time.
We're not going backwards that way. You're just sitting straight down. I know this isn't the best angle, so it's just this way. The whole body in a straight line.
And if you're comfortable with these, remember, I want them a little faster, and I want you to get into those legs. And don't pop up. Best. There you go. Good. Margarita, those look nice. You're doing a nice job leading with your hip.
Literally like falling a little bit.
Yeah, you should be falling right into that leg. So here I am. Fall. I start leaning. Fall. I start leaning first. The leg goes last. Lean, fall. Nice, Evelyn. That's exactly. You got a little bit of lead foot on your left, but your right looks really good. So you're leading with your left foot. There you go. Better. That's better. Exactly. Best be careful you're not leading with your body first. I want you to isolate this time. You're so comfortable with these, you're just doing them. There you go. That's a back step. Unless that's what you want to play on. But that's exactly how you do that. Lean over. Yeah. Nice, Abelard. Good. And again, if you're getting into an advance, you can go forward and backwards. Here I am, right? Maybe 2 and 1. That way we can switch them up a little.
Oh, Bjorn has skipped ahead.
All right.
So, up next, we're going to do the one that Bjorn kindly just demoed for us. We're going to do our skier with the shuffle step. We're reversing the order of the foot movement. So I'm still pushing this way, but then this foot closes in, and then we open back out. And of course, can do backwards.
You can do that back.
summer. I hate summer. Yeah.
That's the way. You should all, yeah, nice. Haroon, you look awesome there. That's great. You should feel yourself, that hip kind of leading it all. Yeah, best. Those are really, you do know, you're crushing those. Exactly. Nice, Elfwin. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
All right.
Still love that mat that you taped up to be your ladder. It's spectacular. Okay. So, moving on to the next one, we're doing the same thing with our 45-degree tilt in. So I'm gonna jump between my imaginary opponent's 45s here.
She looks probably.
Turning the feet. Turn here. Let me do it coming facing the camera so you can see where my feet are turning. So I have a 45-degree angle. This one turns, then we're here. Turn my foot. I'm putting it in its final orientation when I do that initial step. If that's too much twist for your knees, then you can place it partway there and pivot as you finish. Part of the turn, pivot the rest of the way. And yeah, as you speed it up, you get a little bit of air time, which also helps with taking the stress off the knees. You do the twist while you're not in contact fully with the ground.
So when you guys get a chance, when you actually have a partner, this is a good drill. I've noticed even with some of the new folks that come out to drill, I'll stand right in front of them to help them understand what they're actually concentrating on. I think most of you already kind of have a good feel, but if you're working with somebody, literally stand and look at them and let them go. And then slowly walk back. That way they get a chance to actually apply and then maybe go backwards with them. And let them go ahead and throw. Bang.
Really bad at offside.
There we go. Good. Good. So that way they get a chance to apply this in the next step of a fight. Because this is that layering idea that you do with people to learn. So the first time you get them to understand their feet. Next time you can kind of in front of them and let them walk with you so they get used to somebody in front of them and kind of how to pivot on that person and get that focus on that person. And then the next time you just foam sword, just touch you as they're doing the same thing. That way later on, it's easier to get into the fight itself. Good.
Oh, we got
So
Haroon
Margarita,
going all
the next
two-stick on
piece,
us.
what's that?
Haroon's going all two-stick on us.
I know, Haroon is crushing it.
Margarita.
Margarita, so the next piece on yours is gonna be, let's get a little bit of kind of swinging, like allow your body to carry you a bit more. Okay? So allow that body to carry you. So if you're here, as you swing this foot over, go ahead, go to foot cam. As you swing this foot over, you can see I'm 45. I bring this, what I see a little bit is here and then here. So it's kind of almost two steps. Get onto the toes of the second one. So here, this is coming across, and then I'm letting this toe kind of getting on the ball naturally turn a little bit. Do it slow. Here, you see how my foot's already kind of turning.
Step forward one on the ladder, your back foot's cut off.
All right, sorry, let's do this again. Here I am, this one comes here, but as this comes here, you can see me twisting my hip forward to create this next move. And then later, as you get better, as this comes across, your back foot's literally lifting off the ground. And you're kind of falling in. Just like when we walk, this foot literally lifts off the ground as your other foot comes onto the ground. That's the same thing that we want to apply in most of our exercises here. So to do that, sometimes you have to go a little faster. And if you feel like a 45 is hard, then do less of a turn. You know, if you have to, literally try this, do a jump.
That is a good way to start.
All right? And then later you can swing and jump. All right. So, a little bit more definition there and how we can actually help others do this exercise, and where we really want to get into. We really want to get into that our whole body's moving fluidly. It's like, here I am, I'm going to move nice and smooth. So it's here, and then I'm here. I'm almost jumping up in the air. But we don't jump because that jump tells our opponent what's going on. So, but your feet do actually leave the ground almost same time. All right.
All righty. Let's move on to our 3 steps. So we're straightening back out. I'm taking a step forward, and then just doing that same together apart, straight side to side again. Forward, shuffle across. 1, 2, 3. And when we speed it up, we try and smooth it out into just your body should just be smooth, one motion across.
Oh, it's a single step.
Then we can do the same thing where we just take that step backwards and do our shuffle across. Backwards. The way we're doing it really is, I'm stepping backwards and then from there I'm going straight across. I'm not continuing at a diagonal and ending up way back there, which in a real fight you could do, but for the sake of making it work on the ladder, we're focusing more on the side to side. The backwards movement is very small. And because, let's face it, being able to move a lot side to side is going to help in a fight. That's how you cut around. Get around that opponent. Or just.
I know that we're still learning this.
Huh?
I said I know we're still learning this, but I want to comment real quick. Man, I have to concentrate through my own echo. So we're doing these exercises that are lefty-righty. And it's easy to get it into your brain, lefty-righty, lefty-righty. What I was trying to do just now is do 2 rights or 2 lefts in a row. And it's super hard, and it broke my brain. And what it made me realize as I was thinking about it for a second, I'm good at, or I don't know, okay, let's say, functional at stepping and throwing a shot, but I'm really not so functional at stepping and stepping again and throwing a shot. So, so in other words, I can step to the left and throw, but I'm stuck there the way my brain works. For me, it takes a lot right now to think to step and then step in the same direction. So what's going on when I'm fighting and not thinking, which kind of broke my brain.
So we should go back into some circle pel for that, because that was exactly what we were working in those drills, and we kind of haven't done them in a while, where we literally set up the pel.
Yeah, we should do them today.
In the middle of our circle here, and it was just, you know, pick one of these steps, do like your cross step, throw, keep going all the way around.
Another thing we were going to show.
That's one way you can do that, because you can pick any step to the side and do it around like
Another thing we were going to show is how to do this straight on a line, and that is, go ahead, we're going to run the line here. Start up here.
Oh.
And I'm just going to go sideways here. Right? That way we get used to the idea of being able to throw while moving. So we'll go in, a couple of people were asking about pel drills, and and pad drills specifically. We're gonna go and cover a bunch of pad drills we came up with, just to help with targeting everything from now. I can push, so I could be way over here, and I could literally, she's just gonna follow me. She's gonna go back And you notice now she gets sideways, she changed to back, she changed to forward, right? So all of a sudden, she's used to this. That took a little while to build, but she's able to essentially.
A year ago, when we tried it the first time, it didn't look like that.
Right.
I promise.
So we went on direct lines so she could get used to the timing first, and then I slowly moved.
Baby giraffe at first. I didn't know how to walk.
Right. So the idea here is she could, in those drills where we're using all of this footwork to move, you can see how now she's using different footwork to move. Yes, exactly. And she's shadowing me, but all through that, she could throw as well. She'll find those spots. So the footwork builds into all of this type of stuff. And so a lot of people, and Haroon, you're dead on, a lot of people, I'm going to step and throw. And then, okay, now what am I going to do? Yeah. And it's that thought cycle that's breaking, that creates that time and opportunity for someone else. And we have to break through that thought cycle.
So why don't we crank through the rest of the
going.
ladder drills, and then we can just do a rundown of all kinds of pad drills to play with your friends, with your partners, whatever. All right, so very much like the 3-step. Now we're going to get that even greater side to side by letting the feet cross fully instead of bringing them together. So I'm stepping forward, just crossing behind. So you'll see now I'm basically going entirely across the ladder, never really stepping in it.
Yeah, and I'm going to watch everybody a little bit here. Nice. So this one is a really nice drill because what it does is it creates an offset to your opponent. It makes your opponent essentially turn their shoulders, and you're actually on the side of them. So they could be literally taking one step sideways. I think this is the way. So here we are. Watch. We'll start way over here. I'm gonna walk normal, and then she's gonna go ahead and take that big double step. You know, her timing beats my timing because she has a longer skipping step.
I'm now winning.
Right, so she's on the outside of me here, which leaves me open for wraps and so on. Really what she did is she beat the toe. She's on the outside of my foot and she owns that game. So that's what this exercise is for. So let's burn through it. I'm gonna watch everybody. I wanna see some effort in this one. Good. That's it, Margaret. Not bad. I want you to fall into those and trust your feet. That's it. Nice, Bess. That's the idea. You're really trusting it a lot more than before. So that's good.
Oh yeah, and to Haroon's point of doing multiple in a row and not necessarily continuous is just turn sideways on your ladder and do the step, throw, do the step, throw.
Yeah.
Not all of them will translate perfectly to that, but there's an excellent point, Haroon. We're getting the throw in the middle.
Yeah.
Instead of just continuous sideways.
Good, and as I've said, one way you can practice is you can almost skip that step for now. Is you can essentially start here and then really swing, and you can count how many ladder pieces you jump across. So if you start on one, swing this foot and see where you're going to go. So here I am. I'm on the second rung. So now I'm almost on the 6th rung. So the idea is that you got a big push
here, and then you can even still do just a little step to
exactly
perfectly match the way we were doing it, because it'll give you that extra little bit.
And this is a good way to practice this for people who don't have the room. Is small step, gone. Small step, gone. So it gives you at least a little bit more room down the ladder to really get distance. Nice, Selfwin. That's exactly the idea. And then, yep, the other way. Yep, exactly. Adelard, you look great there. That's it, Haroon. And trust yourself, Haroon. I know you got the ability to make those even bigger if you want.
Bjorn, try stepping with the other foot. Take the step with the foot that's on the ladder.
Oh, I was specifically doing Louis' variant version where you fake and then.
Okay, then ignore me. you're doing that totally on purpose, then it is correct.
It was yeah, it was a thing Louis showed us last week, and I was just
Yeah, no, I remember that. Good call. Excellent.
Arun, those are much bigger now. I'm sure you see. So, Bess, let me see what you're doing there. I want to see the sideways stuff.
Thank you. And as a quick side note for anybody else with kind of funky knees, Bronis is like, you can do it wider. And I'm like, yeah, I can. And my ego gets the best of me. But again, with that hip, throwing that hip in first, like we were doing earlier, prevents me from hurting my knee, even when my ego gets in the way of myself.
Yeah, and sometimes, and that's hard to get past that place where you trust your body, right? Because you've dealt with knees, but a lot of knee and a lot of body issues come from your body not being in a stable position. So by getting the hip there first, it allows your knee to be directly under your body.
Right,
So,
and your brain, where your head is, going, I want to go this way, so you go this way.
right,
Which is no.
exactly. So keep that in mind and just work it a little bigger each time. So this is a big piece. You'll find that you probably don't have to use this a lot on people that don't move, because you'll find that you own that range. In fact, what you'll find with people that don't move is that you have a bad habit of not moving as well. So that's right. So Sibe's like pointing at herself here.
That's my bad habit.
So but if you got somebody that moves, all of a sudden, that step really can make a difference. If I'm tracking side and she does that move, then she's, again, outside my foot and owns that position. So if I'm here and I'm just tracking side, going normal foot sideways, and then she throws that in there, now look where she is. She's a full step ahead of me.
And I can keep that going around.
And now exactly. Now she can do whatever she wants to get that around me. So this is why we add that.
I just changed the tempo on you.
Yeah.
You didn't know.
And so she points this out. That's a change in tempo. So our tempo was step. She changes tempo.
A faster one.
So that's what happens in a fight and how tempo is changed. So that's a good thing to understand as well, because this makes you a better fighter and a better understanding of what tempo is in a fight, and at least one layer of tempo in a fight. All right, next one.
So in the vein of doing multiple moves to one side instead of just left, right, we're gonna do 2 to the side now. This is our 4 steps, so it's 1, 2, and then we do another one. And we're kind of doing this we've been doing it as one big continuous shuffle. But if you wanted to practice what Arun's talking about, you could stop, throw, and do another one. Throw, do another one. Or practice throwing while in the middle of the continuous movement and not actually stop. Because you'll surprise some folks with that.
And then backwards.
Where'd my sword go? Here.
Nice, Margarita, that's the way. Remember, keep leading with those hips. Yeah. Nice, Arun, I like you adding both arms in.
Yay! Oh, I'm way too excited for some reason. We're gonna roll with that.
No, keep it rolling. How you guys feeling? It's pretty good. Hopefully we're kind of filling in. I like that some of you guys turn the ladders on the side so you can do these drills a little better. And there's nothing wrong, because that same sideways step, we're like step, 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 step. We're gathering those feet. What we're doing is we're trying to really learn to keep our feet small and then go back the other way. So here I am. We see this in football all the time.
The foot cam view on that is my favorite.
Me just going, phew.
It's just empty frame and you whoosh by. Oh yeah, Elfwine with the shots.
Yes, I love those.
Hell yeah.
That is the way.
I'm gonna laugh real hard when events finally start back up and I get to watch people we know from here go just dominate stuff.
Just picture myself walking down a shield wall, popping people in the face.
Whack-a-mole extreme.
Nice. Who's that?
Bjorn Ksenia.
Bjorn Ksenia, that is awesome. Really like it. Must be raining here.
Yeah, they said they had to move inside because it just started raining on them.
Really, really nice, guys. That's awesome. Bess is posting stuff on the wall. She's all prepped. One day I'm going to be as prepped as she is.
One day when you don't have squires to do it for you.
That's right. I think it's easier to let my squires do it.
That's what squires are for.
Abelard's
You
laughing.
just always keep a couple of them so you don't have to do your own,
That's
planning
right.
for stuff. You just tell them.
All right. So
And then I get to learn.
and then you get to learn. All right. So.
Secretly, this was all my plan. All right, next. We move into our in and out outs. So I'll kind of decide, I think it's easier to see this way. We're gonna do our step in, step out, whole body moving forward and backwards. It doesn't have to be a huge movement, but the point is not to have the legs penduluming out from under the body, staying the same.
You notice that her body's going back and forth over the line. So you can see, and then when you pick it up a little faster, it doesn't move quite as much, but it still does it. All right? So that's the goal. This is a really small change in your center. So
This is your burst direction change forward and backwards. It's nice.
So it's very hard to do.
If you're really careful, you don't kick me. Yeah. Overly enthusiastic squad.
And the good part in these is that you're learning how to change from dropping backwards to dropping forwards really fast. And that's important inside of a fight. So inside the fight, we might have something where she changes forward and then I start coming forward, she has to go back. And then I come back, she has to change going forward. You see how that change is happening all the time in a fight? The closer you stay in tempo for that change, the more control, harder it is for your opponent. Right, there you go.
We've also seen where we can use this as a fake out.
Yeah, this is a great fake. So this is that probing one again.
It's that I'm gonna come get you. No, I'm not.
Right. So now she learned something right there. She learned that if I drop into stance, that I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna stay and hang out. So now she might just do that and then kick off to the side and throw something. Now, if she does it again, and I do this, she knows I'm falling back. So in this case, this is what she might do in that position. She's gonna step the falling step. Now she follows me and double shots me. Kind of like a double jab in boxing if I'm falling directly out. So those are the ideas. Is this helps you with your probe of understanding what your fighter does. The last part might be this. That she jabs me and I throw. So
Well, crap.
So she jabbed and threw to me. So what she learned is I'm a counter shooter. I gave her tension and my immediate reaction is to throw. So now she knows that she can essentially make me throw and then follow it and hit me on the way back. So again, she learned something in each one of those cases. And that's what I want you guys to learn, that this is a great probing mechanism.
All right. Next up, we're gonna do our forward in and out out. So I'm stepping out to the side, 1, 2, and then in. So just 1 foot at a time, out to the side and back in. Trying to stay flat, we're not up and downing.
That was good.
Yeah.
And then the other foot.
Try leading with both feet. Do it backwards with both feet. Etc. Etc. Man, it is hot. Do your best not to stare at the ground.
Which I do all the time.
If you're not
Terrible.
exactly stepping in the boxes, who cares? Ladder's just a tool.
For you that are outside in this nice warm weather, and Sivert is kicking my ass because he's walking around in chainmail and a helmet.
Yeah. He's practicing
Good-
a lot
good
of
job,
things
man.
all at once.
And I mean, look how fast he is with chainmail and helmet on. That's crazy. Looking good, man.
Kicking some butt.
But no leg harness.
That's okay. You look
Still.
great. You're wearing the heavy stuff, so.
Yeah, you're carrying around a lot of
Kidding me?
extra pounds.
Yeah, the ladder keeps kicking
Oh,
my
he's
ass. So
gonna carry 50
I just keep doing this next to the ladder because the only way I can do it without tripping.
Yeah.
That's okay. In a real fight, you don't have a ladder.
So we can explain on this one. Again, this is a probing mechanism. So in this case, if I'm already close to side, here I am. She can't give me a jab forward, and really I don't care if she does anyways,
Because he's just going to rat me.
because I'm already here. So instead, she does side to side. So now I don't know where she's going.
I might be going nowhere. I might just go.
And then I don't know where she's going. Or she does.
He's frozen now going, oh no.
Right, so she noticed I squatted, and now she can just double up. So she goes, and then she can change. This time, she moves like that, and I drop away. Well, same thing. She moves like that, and then she follows me. She keeps that perfect range she wants. And
On the plus side for me, when I'm doing these little fast feet movements, my feet are already moving. It's actually pretty easy to just pick a direction and go.
And her body isn't, which means that defensively and offensively, she has the same shots as normal. So that's why it's so important. So important to keep that body even and nice and stacked. And that's what this probe is for. This probe gives us that side-to-side probe while you're right up onto somebody. So that way you can see how they're going to react.
Alrighty. Let's do some jab, our boxer jab jump thing. So, 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, and I'm just jumping in and out. Or if I have a small space, I'm starting on one side and just jumping to the other side and back. Again, whole body forward and backwards. It doesn't have to be big forward and backwards.
You should feel yourself fall onto the front foot, fall onto the back foot.
Switch feet
All right.
the other way.
Then you just switch, yep. So here.
We're keeping our hips forward. We're not letting them go sideways. This is not a sideways jump.
Right.
It's a forward jump.
So I want you guys all to, there you go, good. Get really light on those feet. I want almost like both feet, get on the camera, the foot cam for a second. Here I am. It's almost like you're just dropping forward and this, it's like your both feet are up at the same time. And both feet back. Both feet, both feet.
Abelard's got it.
And what is really, better, Bess. So what's really happening here is my foot is going over my front foot. And just as it does, I fall onto it. And then I bring my butt over my back foot, and as it does, I fall onto it, and the other foot makes up the
Your
distance.
foot is going over your front foot?
My foot is going over my front foot. My foot is going, my hips are going over my front foot. And just as it does, I just fall into that front foot. So if I was up in the air, here I am, I'm leaning, I fall. And what I'm saying is that you can see I can almost pick my foot up from the ground, lean forward, and then fall onto it.
And if you're really trying to fine tune the motion and find the details, do it that way. Go slow, pick it up, and just gently
Fall onto it.
shift until you fall on it.
And then bring your back foot up the even amount.
Or if you're trying to teach it to someone else, that's a good demo.
Another way to do this one is literally bend your knees, jump, jump. You can see how I'm just jumping up in the air and changing that range. My feet aren't actually doing the work here.
The variation that Louis taught us a month ago or so of taking your feet separately helped me figure out how to take my feet together or more together.
We have a question from Bjorn and Ksenia. Question about power generation with this step. Seems like it would be hard to put any hip into it.
So in power generation, that step, it's actually, now you have this bursting power going forward. Here I am. Bang. And as I land that back foot, I'm turning this in the air practically. One thing that you do lose a little bit is the power from the ground. But what you're gaining is this momentum forward. So as you're pushing your sword forward, you're pushing your whole body forward. So now you got all that power going forward.
It's like the power is coming from the jump itself. Next, we're going to move into our switch foot. So this time, instead of a forward-backwards motion, this is stay in a straight line and the feet are moving entirely underneath you. So I'm here, and I'm just switching my stance. And the next box, do it again. So for me, I'm trying to keep my body perfectly in line over the side of the ladder and just scoot sideways while I do this. Get kind of varying degrees of hip turn on this. Some is okay, you don't want a ton.
Yeah, so and then like Saib said, you want to, unless you're in the middle of a throw, you don't want to turn your hip too much. So you don't want to be here, 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 where your feet actually turn with you. You want to be here. But remember, you can actually throw here, bang, and then turn at the end.
Yeah, jump, land, then turn.
Or you can
throw.
Even if I'm here, I can go ahead and turn and do a switch foot into a throw. Just you have to be careful not to do that maybe if you're testing somebody. Again, this is another good probing step. If I'm fighting side and she likes to be at range, she's very comfortable and I'm like, oh man, she's far away. I'm gonna see something. There you go, I just switched.
I'm gonna run.
So I became 20 foot forward. Here I am, perfect range, you can see. She doesn't move, I do have something.
Well, if you've done a couple of those to sort of show me that I'm safe,
Yeah.
I'm gonna believe I'm safe.
The idea is here, she runs, right? So if the first time I do it, she runs, then I'm like, okay. And if she did not, she's like, I don't know if he's gonna throw or not.
Oh, no, I meant don't switch foot, do some of those where I get to feel safe because I comfortably blocked them all, and then I probably don't consciously realize, unless I'm a super top-end person, that, oh, he switched his feet, he's gonna be closer now. That's probably not going to register.
So what she's talking about is she has a shield, and I just tap that shield.
And I'm like, oh,
Tap that shield.
I now feel very safe.
I fake a tap and switch feet, and then I can throw the hook. So the idea again is we're testing to see what our opponent's going to give us. They're showing us how to hit them. We have to interpret what they show. All right. All right. Next one.
Oh, sorry guys, it's really hot in here.
Yeah.
You see my super awesome high-waisted fight pants. All right, we're gonna do our 2 forward, 1 back now. So I'm gonna get in my normal stance, and I'm doing 2 and 1. Go forward some amount that is larger than you go backwards. Jump forward, then I'm going back. Going forward, throwing a shot, and then I'm jumping out of range. That's what we're kind of trying to show here. I also feel like we could use this the same way we were using our little stutter step of like, I'm just gonna scare you and then I back out and you hopefully don't realize I didn't back all the way out. So I have close range.
And then switch your feet, do it the other way. And then again, you can do these backwards.
Shh, Bellwether's not here. We don't have to.
So again, like Sai said, she could use this as like, she could give me distance. She could give me a small jab step first, just to see what I'm gonna do. And if I don't make a very good block, right, she can make a larger jab step to actually get close enough to throw.
See if I can do these little ones and go, okay.
And then bang. So she changed it up. Again, change the tempo of distance. 2 shorts, 1 long.
And then we have our last one. Well, no, people are still going on.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Make sure if you're outside, make sure you're getting water, please. We're gonna take a few more water breaks because a lot of people outside now. Not bad, Margarita. Now, the only thing I want you to do is make sure that your hips are in a good place and that you're not turning sideways more than you normally do. So I don't mind if whatever your stance is, make sure when you jab that you're back in the stance. Nice. She bursts pretty good.
And total side note, I really like your belt, Ksenia. It's very pretty. I'm gonna guess you wove it yourself.
Yes. She's pointing at her belt. Nice, Margarita. Those look better, actually. Nice way to square those hips up. This is one of those, that little jab forward is lots of people don't throw jabs in SCA fighting. I throw a lot of jabs. A jab is used to blind people, to build tension into people, to freeze people. You can use those. So we have to, so think about that when you're doing these jabs, is that they are a very useful tool. And sometimes you jab a little bit and pop their shield or their basket to pin them and see what they do. It's next to no energy. You're driving energy up into them and you're reading and understanding what they're doing. And it's a big payoff.
All right, shall we move on into our last one?
Yep.
So we're gonna finish with our turning step. In your stance, I'm gonna go the back foot first. So every single one of these is gonna start with that back foot in the ladder, point down. Flip around in the stance. Back foot down the ladder, back into stance. And after I do it all with my back foot, I'll switch and do my front foot. So step with the front foot around.
Start down here. Now we can go back.
Yeah.
Sweat a little.
Sweat hurting my eyeballs.
Welcome to summer.
I hate summer. I moved up to Michigan because it was supposed to not be as hot here, and that was a lie.
I agree.
So I was misled
You were a fool.
about the weather in Michigan.
Nice isolation there, Bess. I can see what you're trying to do. That's good. Adlard, really nice. Your movement is really, I hope people can see this when you're fighting them, because I know you guys are fighting over there already, but you're smooth, you're really moving smooth.
If only my opponents would stand still long enough for me to actually get behind them.
Ah, that's all right. You'd be surprised how when you figure out the timing on some of this, how you'll get some opportunities. You'll start making them yourself.
Hence the leg harness today.
Yep.
And then that's our last ladder drill. So now's your chance when you're done to
Water time.
go get some water,
I gotta get water.
do some stretching if you need to.
And then we'll start with Bess and
get your Pel ready, et cetera, et
Elfwin.
cetera.
And Bess, Elfwin, we're gonna have you do our shoulder warm-ups.
I am happy to do that.
We're gonna have our Eldamir Knights teach us how to not destroy ourselves. Eldamir to the rescue. I'm gonna take this opportunity to step inside to the AC and maybe cool off for 4 seconds.
Oh dear.
With that extra helmet weight, my quads are going to kill me tomorrow.
Yeah, I bet.
Perfect.
She actually surprised herself.
They're already upset now.
That's awesome.
Well, that's a drink lots of water and make sure you stretch and maybe have some ibuprofen when we're all done. Stretching and actually cool downs is something we kind of never talk about, but probably ought to do more of officially. Is at the end, go walk a lap and do some more stretching and like rolling your arms around to get the blood flow and get the lactic acid out of there.
All of those are good ideas today.
Yeah. Like we've gotten a lot better with warm up and stretching, and we should probably start talking about adding the end on. We don't necessarily have to do it as a group, but something to think about doing on your own. It's my least favorite part of swim practice as a kid, but it was probably the thing that helped me the most. They're like, we just had a really hard practice. Go swim another 300 warm down. And I was like, but why?
All right, look like we lost. I look like Frank is gone.
Yeah, he said his back wasn't holding out.
Oh,
and
I was wondering.
He had to bail out a little bit ago. It's Louie. Oh, yep, Ksenia's got the warm-ups.
Yeah, she's working them.
Smart kid over there. Oh, yeah.
All right, we'll start in about, let's give everyone,
Give them a chance to.
yeah, we're going to give everyone about 2 more minutes and then we'll work on, but you guys are more than welcome to start kind of warming up now. But then we'll break in and have Elfwin and Bess warm us up.
Go get my magic wand, wait.
Hey, we got a fox.
Oh, hey.
Hey, buddy. It's been a long time since I've seen you take a Sunday off and just chill out.
Yeah, well,
Located to ribs.
can't stand up or walk right. So
How'd you dislocate ribs?
honestly, I stood up in the shower.
Man, I told you never to shower.
Why are you so old?
I had a great day at work on Monday. I had a great workout Tuesday morning. I got home, jumped in the shower Tuesday before I went into work, and bang,
Yeah.
been an entire week that I've been on the couch.
Oh, man.
So
All right, so let's go ahead and get some arms in. Let's we'll throw Bess. We'll start with you, and then we'll go to Elfman again. She'll work us the hard stuff at the rotational stuff at the end.
You ready, Bess?
Got it. So this is particularly timely for me because I've been doing gardening for the last couple of days. So my shoulders are actually pretty sore. So
I understand you. Me too.
So get your heavy thing, either a helm, water jug, just jug full of water, a milk jug, laundry jug, whatever you've got. And you're gonna just bend over and hold it nice and loose. You can brace yourself on your legs, or you can brace yourself on a table. And I say brace because this is not a strength exercise. So this is a lengthening exercise. We're stretching. So don't be a hero and try to be strong. That's not what this is for. So then little circles, and you're using your body to make the momentum to spin your heavy object. And you'll notice that I really am. I'm moving my body to try to get the momentum going. Oh, that feels so good. Okay, it feels good. So we're doing a little longer today. Feel free to change the direction whenever you get tired of going this way, but oh, it feels so good. Okay, and now switching the directions. And again, it's the momentum that you want. You're just letting your arm hang. You're not being strong. You're not being a hero trying to work in some extra muscle exercises. This is a stretch. Okay, and then just let it kind of relax and stop, and then sideways, using your body for momentum.
By the way, thank you guys for adding these and doing these. These have been really great.
So I do this 2 ways. You can see right now my shoulders are flat, but at times I'll also drop it and make them straighter. And it just, for me, provides a little bit of an extra stretch in different places. May or may not work for you. If you've had your shoulder reattached, maybe you will enjoy that, doing it both ways. Okay, and then back and forth. And I'm sorry, it feels really good, so you're getting my little oh mans. All right, and I'm just gonna switch arms now. And again, momentum, big circles. This one, mostly I keep my shoulders flat. I don't need the stretch so much. That's probably stupid. I should probably do it the other way too. Stretch everything all the time, no matter what. Don't be like, don't be like Bess and Bronis. Learn from our mistakes. Stretch everything all the time. Okay, and now the other way. I'm a very good, horrible example. Oh. All right, and now sideways. And then back and forth. And again, it's all momentum. All right. So the next thing is just standing up and stand sideways. Tuck your butt under. Pretend we're doing footwork. Hi, sweetie. Good. Okay, and then just all you're doing is, oops, pulling your shoulder blade. My camera slipped. Pulling your shoulder blades back. And you're strengthening and lengthening your front. Because we all spend a lot of time, oh man, hunched over a computer. And relax it. So when I do stretches with my chiropractor, one of the things he tells me, and I'll just pass this on, is if you do it and you really push for about 10 seconds, like push, 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 and for about 10 seconds continually going, and then relax, it helps you with your next stretch. So if you do it about 3 times, and I know my head is gone, my camera's slipping.
No, you're good.
Okay. Oh man, okay. And then the last one, if you like, is just behind your back. And that just provides a little bit of extra stretch.
Yeah.
All right, and there you go.
All right. So we'll switch over to Athwin.
Elfwin!
Yay, Elfwin.
Hey,
You're up.
All right, so we'll keep working on the shoulders. We'll do some shoulder rolls. Nice big. Make sure those scapula in the back are running around and making all kinds of crunchy, Rice Krispie noises like mine do. And then forwards. I like to do 10 or 12 of these, just get things kind of libered up. And that helps get you out of that cell phone crouch posture that we all end up in.
Exactly.
All right, since we're working on the top, we'll work on the neck a little bit. So standing nice and relaxed. You're going to keep your jaw level, and you're going to look as far as you can to one side and the other side. Sometimes what I do is I put my hands on my chest, and that keeps your torso straight so that it's just your neck working.
Funny phone, is a funny phone that seems.
He was trying real hard.
And again, keeping your chest still so it's only your neck. Chin up as far as you can. And then down into your neck.
This is the kind of stuff, it just makes you feel better at the end.
It does. And with us not being in helms for so long, getting our neck strengthened back up again, good plan. And there's some stuff that I've been reading about the relationship between a weak neck and getting concussions.
Yeah, actually, they're saying that a lot of that is more your neck than your than the thick padding in your helmet.
Yeah.
Is that because like your head you're a strong neck prevents your head
Right.
from wobbling? Okay.
Yeah, it's essentially your brain swooshing and hitting the sides of your head or inside of your head that causes concussion. So a stronger neck stops it from going as far.
Yay.
Cool. Thanks.
And I have neck issues anyway. I've got scoliosis in the spine. So I got spurs back there. They're starting to fuse. So these are all good things. The other one that I really feel, because I have issues right up at the top where the skull joins the spine. So again, keeping your jaw level is you're kind of kicking your head back and then forward. Because we tend, when we're on our cell phone or the computer, our head shifts forward all the time. We're in this forward face stance like this, and it's really hard on your neck. So reminding your back neck muscles that they're allowed to work. All right, and working our way down our torso into our waist. Rotating all the way down to your ankles. We're using all these when we fight, so we'll be using all these when we stretch.
That's it. Well, that's a good stretch actually, because like when you throw, right?
Yeah, that's your shot.
Exactly.
I was extending the arm into a punch and he was laughing at me and I was like, no, it's legit.
Yeah. I tend not to throw the shot while I'm doing the rotation because actually I usually rotate my arm back
Rotate your arm back.
Get that stretch right across the pecs. All right. Grabbing a sword or something similar.
All right, here we go. One day I'll get this.
All right. So, elbows 90, elbows tucked into your ribs. Shoulder rotates back, out. Extend the arm. Rotate down. Bend the elbow. Rotate the shoulder. Rotate back out. Back to the beginning. Back, out. Extend. Rotate down. Rotate in. And out. And going backwards, across the chest, out, rotate up. You might want to shorten the sword if that's hard on your elbow, your wrist. Coming in without beating yourself in the head. And back to the beginning. Okay, good. Swing it out a little bit. Switch to the other hand.
Ooh, this arm hurts more.
Yep.
We don't use this one as much.
That's why we do both sides. I actually have more trouble on my right hand because of tendonitis and stuff.
That makes sense.
And I've had some fighting injuries of elbows and shoulders over the years, so that's why I started doing these in the first place. And backwards. Oh, that's the hard one. And swing it in.
All right.
All right.
Good. All right. So today we're going to go back through, because we haven't done them a lot, is we're going to go back through our rotational pedal exercise.
Yay.
So we haven't done them for a few weeks. I'd like to make sure everybody can still work on understanding how to move around their opponent. The idea being, we'll start with our standard gather foot, which is here, right? And remember, on your gather foot, the idea again is wherever that foot goes is where your body's going to go, or where your hips are going to go. So if I don't turn my foot, my hips are no longer on my opponent. So you really want to turn that foot. There's no change in stance. Count the number of times it takes to get around the belt. Keep your back straight, look at their face. First time around without throwing, second time around with throwing. If you want to use your shield, then make sure that you do not, the idea being this gap always gets covered. So if there's a scenario where you have an extra camera or something available to you, an old phone, you can watch yourself, tape yourself, and here we are. I'm going to hold this sword and shield, and I'm going to move. And what I'm watching is that gap between my sword and shield. And then the other way. And then in the video, I'm going to look and see how often that gap changed or the height of my shield changed. With movement comes some changing of your body. In other words, if I was fighting side and I go to throw a leg shot and everything drops, then she can hit me in the head. Or I just tried to transition
I like that trade.
to this side and I move, bang, she catches me kind of bringing my shield across too early. But if I keep good form all the time, it doesn't matter here. I know where my shield is, I know where my sword is. You learn to trust those things. Those types of things become your good technique. The more steady you are, the harder it is for your opponent to find something to hit. Yeah, first time around, gather step, and then you show them the strikes. So and you can see side striking on every step. She falls and throws. So this is that place you can find that power.
Yeah, this is your chance to experiment with, okay, where exactly in this step do I throw in order to get my maximum power? Where feels good? Where is most successful? Because while there's definitely a general guideline, the more people we try this with, the more we find there is some variation of what works best based on your individual body.
So William, I want that point of the shield up above a little bit higher so that it's kind of at the crux of your eye, almost like your eye's looking across the front of that shield. We're going to start touching and make that harder. I don't want you to look with your eyes over your shield. Nice throwing, William. Now remember, push forward. You're kind of rotating that sword out first. Jab. Yeah, that's better. Jab. Good. Much better. So we don't want to rotate that sword out. What I see a little bit from a couple of people is this. I'm stepping to this side and I'm rolling. Look at this sword way over here.
Woo!
Right? So watch my movement here. I'm rolling. This is a shot for your opponent to throw. It's also an area that he gets to see perception.
Yeah,
He's picking up your movement.
It's a telegraph.
But this is a telegraph. So instead, what's happening is I'm here and then I'm pushing forward right across my body. Your hand comes across your body. So here I am. I'm going to do it right into the camera. See how my hands are almost center, if not over into the other shoulder. But look how this sword comes. It's not, see how this rolls around? The problem with the rolling around is that essentially gives you your opponent, really, if his shield's in the right, or their shield's in the right place, then it's an easy block for them. They don't have to think. You want to make your opponent think as much as possible. The more they're thinking about you, more they're thinking about blocking what you're throwing, the less they're thinking about how they're going to hit you. The more things that they have to compute in their brain, the harder it is for them. So as you fall onto this foot, the hip turns and throws the shot. Okay, so here we go again. Here I am. I step out here. Bang! You can see the hip turns and then I back. All right, stepping over here. Bang! So try not to roll out. That roll out, I love when people roll their tip of their sword out because I pick it up in a second and it makes it easy for me to make a block. The only way to really for them to hit on that type of way is to change up the shot after that rollout. But think about, you're stepping and you're driving right at that opponent. That power should really be focused at hitting at the end. As your feet should all be secondary now. Nice, William. I mean, Sigrid, that is exactly, your blows are looking much better. So,
Let me get back to you. Haha.
so real quick, Side said that I should make sure I put a caveat on all of this. So if you know, here you guys all know, you're going to train under the people you train. They throw different. From folks out on the western part of the country and other areas, this is a perfectly good shot. They learn how to change the angle of those shots.
They also tend to fight with their shields in a different place than we do, so the idea is available.
Yeah, they tend to fight. That shield would be they get into that clamp style. They tend to block, make active blocks for the sides of their heads, either with the sword or they'll roll the shield point. But here we change that angle into the A-frame. It's a little different. None of these are wrong.
Straight into the shield.
Even if I'm here on my shoulder, and
But being aware of what your opponent's fighting style is comes into play.
Right. So even here on your shoulder, as I take this step out, I'm not doing this. Even here on my shoulder, I'm not doing this. Because again, defensively, my sword is in no way defensive. And then that comes across. But instead, I step here, and then I bring this right off the shoulder, across my body, and strike to the side of the head. So just beware that this is, even with the sword back here, I also see a lot of guys, they start it back here and then they'll tilt it up a little forward, still hanging above their head. And then again, as I transition, I'm crossing and throwing that out of that position that whatever you fight from.
Whatever your correct position is, maintain that.
Now the one thing is we here, and I tend to put together one blow at a time. So, you know, the idea being You can add stuff. We're not practicing that. That was on, in fact, if you look at the last 3 days, we all practice katas like this. So the idea was, I'm gonna throw this, my sword's blocked. Here, my sword head's blocked. So that's the kind of thing, you do get a lot more of that position out of Western states, or kingdoms. So, and that's perfectly fine. I'm showing you what works for me and why it works. See if you can put it in your style.
So just since we have such a broad audience, I figure we should throw that in there once in a while. We're not only teaching to people that fight our style.
All right, next one. So the next one is going to be, is this the crossover or the shuffle?
Just single crossover. No step first.
Okay, so the next one is single crossover. In other words, we're going to take our front foot, we're going to turn it on that angle. This foot comes over and we throw. Or right now, again, perfect defense. First time around, perfect defense, perfect offense.
So on the ladder, that was our just skier shuffle. This one.
Right.
Now we're doing it in a circle.
And turning your feet as you do that in a circle.
So this,
all right.
We're moving it onto the ladder and just doing it all one side.
You should see that you get more travel out of this. In other words, that your step is bigger. And then the other way. Now this time the back foot's going. Again, if you're videoing yourself, you shouldn't see that sword and shield moving at all. And side's going to show you the striking. Nice, William. That looks really good.
Oh. Your phone is
Silver, that looks good too. Nice, Abelard, that's the way. Your feet, from day one to now, Abelard, I hope you see your difference. Your back is straighter, you're not leaning over. Yeah, really nice. Nice. Everybody's doing a great job here. Nice, Adila. Bess is just manhandling Bob there. He's poor Bob. I hope you got consent. All right, Bess, I want your hand up a little higher most of the time. Yeah, you're dropping it to, yeah, you see where it is now? Yeah, you're dropping it there. Try to put it in your shoulder a little bit. Yeah, just, yeah, there we go. About shoulder height, and always keep it back up. There it goes. Always bring it back to that same place. There. You notice those seem to be a little easier when your hand is in the right place. If you start it in the wrong place, those get harder. Very nice. That's a lot better, Bess. Your shots look crisper. Just always bring that sword back where it belongs. And I'm going to tell you, you can talk to Duke Sean, you can talk to everybody. Your sword needs to go back where it belongs, where you know how the defense and offense comes from it. So hand up a little again. This is one of those times where if you have somebody to help you, I'll do it with Saib all the time. Her hand will go down, I'll tap it with my sword to remind her to bring it back up. And then she hates me.
Sorry, I'm figuring something out with the video.
All right, so our next one. So the next one was essentially what we did for our Lomachenko step, or our step that really gives us the most coverage. And in this one, I'm going to start going to the left first, but we took a small jab step. Small jab step, and we'll start over here so you can see it better. You notice small jab step, I turn that foot a little bit. Small jab, swing, and then back over. What that step does is it gives you the most movement. One thing you can do on that is on that small jab step, you could actually throw a shot. That will put your person into tension, and then you run, and then you move. The idea there is what you're doing now. Again, we took this drill, and I'm showing you how to work it in a position. Tap that opponent in a way that is safe. So if that is hit their right on the top of their keons, not their basket-held hand, but right on the top where the keons of a sword would be, what you're doing is you're kind of pinning that sword, and I'm just touching it. So here I am, I take that step and touch, and then swing, and then throw again.
No.
All right, so first time we'll just do the exercise, step, roll, step, roll, step, roll, step, roll. And then the other way is, for the other way, remember we do it a little different. We step forward to free that back leg to swing across. So, step forward, roll. Again with shield, looking at Bob, keeping that head up. All right, good.
Try this just for fun.
Oh, she got retained. Oop, I'll get out of your way.
Whoa, that's a slow shot. Slow and lumbering.
All right. Remember step, shot, shot, yes. So on that step, go ahead and take that little step. We don't want to take too big of a step on that first step. It's almost kind of like a jab step, and then a roll out, or roll around. Retan?
Shot technique, what?
Yeah. So again, here we are. As I take this little step forward, I throw. So I was like, oh, this is almost like a switch step, and then a roll.
Your job is bracelet.
I gotta move Bob's arm. There we go.
Awkward sideways arm.
So here we are.
Whoa.
Good. Well, William, you look great there. Louis always looks good. Hand up a little bit.
I understand why our Westie
Ron, that's your hands in a much better place today. Just make sure that tip doesn't go behind your head. But it looked pretty good.
My shield is heavy.
No, maybe you're just tired today.
Oh my God, my shield is killing me today. This is
That's also, isn't that no, it's your throwing arm. I was gonna say, remember you worked in the garden all yesterday.
Well, yeah, and it's also the first time I've really hoisted this thing in 15 months, but
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Well, then you definitely need to work with it.
holy Hannah.
Alflin, you hang your shield exactly like we do. I like yep, exactly. Very nice.
I made a little video on kind of the physics behind it, getting the balance in the right spot. And
Oh, really? I'd love to see it.
yeah, I'll put, it's the only link on my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'll
post it post it in the group. That way everybody gets to see it.
Yeah.
Hey, Abelard, you look good there. Be careful you're bending your hips out when you're throwing those leg shots a little bit. All right, so make sure that when you're throwing those leg shots that you're dropping into those little, you've been doing our squats, so you know how to do those. All right, so okay, everyone, just so everybody sees what I'm talking about, again, if I'm gonna, here's an example for an inside leg shot that we'll throw. I'll be right here, and I'll slide here and throw a shot. The key is you notice that as I slide, I'm not looking down here and then doing this, because then what happens is, if I'm doing this, my shield is not covering me well. So the idea is, here I
I'll move
am,
my shield out of the way so that we can see.
I'm sliding, I sit and slide and throw.
Here, why don't we show what happens to the shield.
So here we go, shield's here. I'm gonna get a little better view for everybody. Here, I'm gonna step, and then I'm gonna do a gather. So step, gather, doing a crossing step, and then I throw to the inside leg. So if you look, turn, this is actually where I'm hitting around the inside leg. And you notice my sword is pretty much horizontal to the ground. Now, so everybody keeps asking, how can you hit somebody in the back leg like that? And go ahead and throw it on the foot cam.
Oh, good point.
And we're gonna show you.
Foot cam is no longer.
Yeah, I noticed, I think we may have lost it.
Well, at least the camera turned off.
Yeah.
It's still showing in the meeting.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's okay.
Something popped up. All right,
Now I can turn it on.
so now we're gonna turn foot cam on. And
Technical
then,
difficulties, sorry.
this is a shot that started with actually my squire, who is now knighted, that he started doing it. He throws it up into the belly. I'm not sure how he does that, but I hate him. And I've seen him hit everyone from me multiple times to Tarquin multiple times, even Rongaller with some of these. So
Jason?
yeah, Jason. So you can see side, I'm right in front of side. This is the back leg. This is the leg I'm gonna hit. So what's happening is, I'm gonna move the camera just a little bit so you can see my legs. Okay, you can still see hers. And now you see mine. I am actually stepping a little bit sideways. I'm not just shooting out here because I still don't have it, the angle goes away. Yeah, we'll change it to that one. So here we go. I am stepping almost like I'm circling my opponent. And I'm throwing right here in that leg.
That
So-
off line clears the line.
So if I do the shuffle here, what happens is step, feet come back across, small step, and shuffle and inside leg. I just drop my butt. All right, top view.
Yeah, we're gonna show our overhead camera. Did we plug it
Is it plugged in?
in? Yes. Oh no, what did I just do?
Give it a second, there you go.
Sorry, I haven't had an overhead cam in a while. There we go.
Overhead cam.
Woohoo!
So again, you can see here we are.
I'm trying, my legs are really hard to see.
That's
against
okay, I think I'll get,
the
quick.
ground.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Here, I will use this on my leg to show
They're not
where
gonna
it
see
is.
that leg anyways.
You can kind of see it.
All right, so here we are.
This is my leg. It's literally sitting on my leg.
If I just take this step here, you notice the range is wrong. I can't hit it. This time I'm gonna take that step just like we do in that Lomachenko step and cross, and I hit that inside leg. And that drop, now I'm gonna just drop and sit, and then I'm here. See how I'm closer as I rotate around. And that's actually very easy to hit that back leg.
My pants are the same color as the floor.
I know, that's funny. So that's how that shot's done. The way a lot of times what I'll do is I'll give it a little quick tap, bring their shield high, and then rotate underneath. So that's a really nice shot to practice. So you can practice this one on the pelt. The same way in that circular motion, we'll do our Lomachenko step. We're gonna do our Lomachenko step.
Okay, so hang on a sec. You keep calling the Bomba Shinko step.
Oh, sorry, it's the
Just a step and then cross.
Right, it's a step and cross.
Okay.
So that's it.
It's basically like our 3-step has been. You take a step and then you do the cross behind.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
You take a step.
What did you have this
Making your
as?
feet further apart and then do the cross behind.
What did you have this written down for our rotational stuff? Because usually we did the gather, we did the shuffle, and then we did, this is kind of our
Yeah, we
crossing.
were calling it the cross and then, or the single cross and then the step cross.
Right, is that what you guys
And he
have?
calls it the Lomachenko step because it was originally inspired by the boxer.
Right.
So, but it's effectively, it's that step
Cross
and then
and
cross
step cross.
behind.
What'd you say, Louis?
Cross and then step cross.
Or if it was on the ladder, it's the shuffle and then the cross behind.
So here we go, step and drop
We're still working on unifying our terminology.
and throw that leg shot. Step, drop, throw the leg shot. If you're dropping, that sword is horizontal to the, you look at my sword, it's really horizontal to the ground. It makes it much easier to hit your opponent because you're literally coming under his shield or her shield. Instead of when we're throwing that leg looking down, we're coming on an angle. See how this angle is towards the ground? So it becomes easier for them to block. If you get this shot working, it is very difficult for your opponents to, they actually actively have to block it well. You get, if you're still having trouble with it inside, if you just haven't been able to get the sit, just get in front of Bob or whoever you have, your pal, sit, throw at first. Remember, when this sword comes across,
Throw a regular leg shot first.
just throw a regular leg shot. Remember to allow that heel, get on the balls of your feet as you go down, like when we warm up, we're on the balls of our feet. And then I throw, that back heel turns out. I'm gonna do it slow, down, turn, and throw at the same time.
It's like way back early in the pandemic, there was a super long hell legs video where he super deep dives leg shots and gets into all the nitty gritty details. And if anybody wants that,
We'll
I
post
can post the link. It's in the training library if you're in there, etc., etc. If you want a super detailed breakdown, it exists.
Yeah, so again, we can practice this one just like we practice our warm up, squat, turn and throw, right? And then next time, maybe we just do a gather step and throw to the leg. Right, I'll do it so you can see it. I'm just doing a gather step. Look how low I am. And look at my sword, still horizontal to the ground. Next time I'm gonna do a crossing step. You notice I sit towards the very end of that crossing step. So you remember we're doing these, when I'm sitting and then coming back up, my shield's still in a good place, my sword's still in a good place, blocking and throwing are still in good places. But if you're, the reason why we added these as strengthening at the very beginning is because this is what it allows you to do.
More squats. This is why squats are the solution to a lot of life's problems.
That core power becomes really critical. And then, so that was the shuffling step, and then the next one would be a small step, might be a tap with your small step, slide, cross step, you're behind the crossing step, and go. So you remember, instead of strike, we're doing strike on the step, crossing, and then sit, and throwing to the leg. So we went from throwing, we really went from warming up earlier to, go ahead. Here, you want this?
I'd want to be able to throw a shot.
Okay, then don't use it.
It's not great right now.
So we went from warming up with this to now we could stand in front of the pelt like Slide is doing right now. This is where you start looking at, see if you're pulling both shoulders back as you're throwing those leg shots or not. If you're turning right, when you really get good, you can actually turn both feet if you're on your toes, like that.
My front one tends to plant.
Right. You can see, right? And that allows you to release all that pressure and allows the hip to really turn if you get used to that. And then we went from that and added all three of our foot movements along with these. So that's the idea of how to do that step. Super easy to hit inside lefty's leg. That is correct. And for a lefty to hit a righty inside leg. So this is one of these
that plants and follows you just with their upper body. Open season.
And here's even a bigger one that I do it all the time on. Oh, good idea. I just filled, but she probably needs some.
I could use some.
Louis giving Cy some water, and then I'll show you. So after you get it working on the PEL, and later when you get a partner, this is another exercise you can work on. And this is the one where you're going to build timing into this step. So the idea here is what happens is we will have a partner and we'll be walking. So the first thing with a partner is stand in front of them and let them do that step. Here I am, I'm standing in front of Cy, and she goes ahead and just throws an inside leg shot. This time, what she's gonna do is she's gonna let me walk, and she's gonna throw that just as I step forward. Even easier now because she's doing that every time I step forward. So she might push me and make me want to go see her, and then as I step, she throws it. So
Step back like I just did.
that helps you build that time in a fight. And these are the things that we can work on with partners when we do that. So this builds, again, we're building a kind of that kata inside of our fight again, right? We're building that combination. I'm gonna pull this person, I'm gonna push a little bit to get the engagement, and then I'm gonna pull back, and as that person steps, I'm throwing just as they're stepping. This is what Rongvalder does with people. He pulls them into his place while he's throwing a shot. So that's what we're trying to help you with here. Abelard says, I think my problem with my leg shot is when I finish, I cross my feet too wide apart. Yeah, so when you do drop that low, your feet will, in a squat, naturally tend to get a little bit wider. So you do have to be careful with that. So some of that is just practicing your squat, and some of that is getting your feet back into the right position very quickly after. Okay, Abelard, let me see what you're doing. Let me highlight you.
Ready to go.
All right, ready to go. That was fine. Yeah, and yes, you're a little bit wide, but that's okay. Do it again. Good. Now do it, there we go. All right. Yes, he does. Now I want to see it nice and fast. I want to see that cross step as you throw it. Good, quick one. Yes, that's a little better. You see, you've got a little bit of tilt with that, right? But not quite as much, so because you're thinking about it now. All right, so that's very good. Some of that also is occurring that's a little better. So you kind of drop in that butt. Each time you're going to work on trying to get better and better at that. All right? All right. That's the way. I'm going to bring us back to the side here. I got you.
Right click, replace spotlight. Bam.
All right.
I'm just trying to relearn how to throw a shot with Rattan. I don't know what you want to show with me.
All right, let's see, son. She's just working on rattan stuff.
Now that I can hold the regular sword again, I have to learn how to throw it again. Ha ha ha.
So breathe out. That's it, breathe. Yes. Good.
Having trouble up hard like I'm supposed to.
Love all
I'm really
this.
good at throwing at chest level.
Right, exactly.
Falls apart in the water which I desperately need.
So remember that you fall forward and then peek up on those toes. So this is a way to do it, and you can essentially fall, and then I peek sometimes. So here, bang.
How many times have we told me not to do that?
Well, that's because you're doing it early. So you have to travel and then up. So be careful because you'll fall into those a lot. So just do them a little. That just pop up on your toes up there. Yeah, they see how it's easy to fall.
I don't want to pick my body up. I want to pick my back up.
Anyway, you get to do a little bit of both. There you go. Good.
This way up here that I've never been great at is extra bad right now.
I think you're getting pretty good. That's nice. Okay.
Feels like a leg weight.
I know. Just be careful how much you're throwing at those.
Much pill work to do.
All right. So let's make sure we did all our. Did we do all our rotationals?
I don't know if we did the step cross. I don't remember.
Yeah, we did the step cross.
Yes,
Actually, we did this. We went through
Yes.
those legs on the step cross.
Okay, then yes, we did them. What shall we do next?
So the last flow I'm going to show you today, because we kind of, I'm going to cover two things. One is something I just covered with side, and that is, in fact, we'll try. Is my camera working or is it down again?
I think it's fine. No, it's down again for some reason. Whatever that is keeps popping up.
Well, I don't like that. Notifications. I had to take some of the notifications off.
Well, it shouldn't be going to the notifications and
Just by itself.
menu.
I know, it's
Because
weird.
that's a settings menu. That's not just a notification.
All right. So, kind of giving you a shot of Bob here. I'm going to move Bob back. So, the first thing I want to talk about is kind of the breaking, a little bit of the breaking hand. We talk about the breaking hand all the time.
Yeah.
And the idea here is we travel. You notice again, I'm traveling forward, my head isn't popping up. And then you notice it pops up at the very end. So here I am, travel forward, pop up. This is not this, pop up and then try to travel forward, because that doesn't work. In fact, you guys can all try, get right, look at, again, I'm barely touching his nose, full extension. All right, so here we are, all on the pill. And then what I'm gonna do is we lean forward and we just throw a strike. Look at my hand is about pointing at his shoulder, which is gonna hit his shield most likely. Here we go again. Side is gonna, oh, you're just moving. Oh, there we go.
More direct
Awesome.
side angle. Pardon the shaky cam for a minute.
We're gonna adjust the cam so it's a little.
Now that we're less feet focused, we're gonna make it taller. Oh no.
And there we go. That's pretty good.
That seems decent.
All right, so here we are again. Look how my head travels. You notice that again, I'm going all the way on that front foot. And look, I can hit him pretty easily. My hand's about, again, pointing more at, it is, so I'll talk about it. My hand is almost in front of his shoulder and my sword is breaking into his head. So I'm going to show you kind of what I'm talking about here. This is if I'm coming at you. Here I am. See, my hand is punching towards his shoulder, but my tip is falling towards the head. Remember, this is the part, this is your fist. This is the part that's hitting people. This is the part you should be really concentrating on, not your hand. Your hand is just a guide. It delivers power and it guides just like your arm guides your fist when you're throwing, the hand's guiding your arm and hand guiding your sword. So here I am, I transition, I start to throw, and then I break higher. Now all of a sudden, if you look at where I am on Bob's head, my hand is almost in his eyeballs. So here we are, forward, my hand's about underneath his, about mid-elbow, I pop up, now it's on the top, and I can throw.
You want to show how that breaks over a shield?
And I will show how that breaks over his shield right now. So I'm going to get this kind of in the back.
Yeah.
Here we go, their side.
Yeah, I'm not sure how we're going to have to.
Let's see if we can get that. So if you're looking, she was pretty covered. That head, if I just travel, if I'm here, let me get in front, go back a little bit. There we go, we might have to reset it, but here we are. You can see she's covered, And now she still has to look at me. There we go, thank you. So, camera, she is totally covered. If I travel here and I throw here, you notice it picks up the top of this shield edge.
I didn't even move.
Right.
Like this.
But if I travel here and I pop up, you notice now it is actually hitting the top of her head. So you want to get used to travel and pop up on those toes like we do that exercise. Travel, pop, and back down. Travel, pop, and back down. Notice my sword's always coming back to the same place. It's about shoulder height. Top of my basket, shoulder height. Pointing, knuckles pointing at my opponent's face. Travel, pop up. All right? So let me put this right behind my shoulder. So you can see. Yes. Can we raise that higher?
We have to lengthen the legs.
All right, hold on. We're gonna lengthen this a little bit. That last one. Oh, there we go.
One more. Sorry, guys. We're shifting on the fly, and we're not real good with tripods.
It's actually even more you can do.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
We better not need to.
No. Oh, whew. Yeah, that's up. Now you'll be able to see.
Might be too tall. I don't know.
Yeah, but then we just bend it. Whoa. All right. We're gonna bend this down a little bit in a sec.
You're loosen that one. Then it.
That one is it?
Yes, it's that one.
For the ball? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Loosen it more.
Oh, there we go. All right. So now you can kind of see side.
Hi.
There she is. This is pretty much the normal place that we stand in. Here I am. Again, shifting forward and throwing a shot. You notice it's a shield. Shift forward, up, and throw that shot. I'm coming down over the shield. So shift forward, bang, right on top of her. Shift forward, bang. So here's her with a basket hilt. So there's a tiny gap in there. If you notice, my sword, here I am, bang, it travels the angle of the weapon. So here I am, bang. I'm going to throw in here. She's actually nice and tight right now. Bang, right up on top. All right, now she shifts her sword. Maybe let's do a little bit of, yeah, either or. You can go sideways if you want.
Making it more open or more
right,
closed.
so she goes into elbow on the body. You notice now I have the goalpost. So again, this is even easier. I could literally try to throw it straight through there. She just has to do a quick tilt block to get that with the shield, right? Bang. So instead, I push, and then I push up, and I throw into that angle. Right up here. But again, this is why we added those toes to our throws, is to allow us to change the angle of the sword at the end. So that's really what I'm trying to get to help you understand that there's this dynamic of changing the angle at the end is a super important dynamic, and great fighters have it. Some even know how to explain it to you. Unfortunately, many don't realize what they're actually doing. They just realize it works. So this is essentially what they use. I used to call the breaking hand. In other words, what's happening is I'm changing the shot at the very end. Right. Because look, watch. She makes a sword block.
I'm not just going here. I'm going up.
Up.
And then toes get a little more on that. But
So if she makes this a sword block, and I see this all the time, just go ahead and here, right? So here's that sword block. She makes a good sword block. Good sword block, right? So I can change this. So now I can change it to break around that sword differently. So if I just get her used to making that easy sword block and then break it, I can change that angle. And then what I mean by break it is like actually my hand does this. Change right here. Straight at her. She's making normal blocks. And then I change it. Ooh, right in the eyeball. You all right?
you missed. It's fine. You got the temple?
Got the temple. All right? So that's that changing hand or changing angle. pulls some of the power off, so you have to be a little careful. But that's a big part of opening up shots that people kind of allow you to get, because they're comfortable with their block. So if I'm fighting side and she's comfortable and I hit right in that shield, bang. Now she's super comfortable.
No, I'm not blocking.
Right? She's not even working on it. I change it, and then I change it, and it's done.
You have me believing that you're just not very good at throwing that shot. My effort level goes way down because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna block it, cool. Oh.
So what I'd like everybody to do is get on their bell, and again, touch the nose, shift, and throw a shot without lifting. Shift, throw a shot, shift, toes, throw that shot higher. This is the first step to learning how to change the angle of your sword. All right? Shift forward and then throw. And remember, when you shift forward, you're shifting forward just like your trap. Don't go up first, right? Go forward and then up on the toes. Forward and then up on the toes. There we go. There we go, Abelard. That's the idea. That's better, guys. You're getting the idea of shifting. So offside will be a little more difficult because you'll want to fall when you're turning. I'll just warn you. And I'm going to try this a little bit of sword foot forward because that's the way Bess is doing it. Here I am. I shift forward, and then I pop up. Here I am. Shift forward, pop up.
Yeah, and to be clear, I'm also trying to avoid my ceiling light.
Ah, that is a problem. Okay.
Yeah.
When she lifts up, the light is right there.
Oh, yeah. That's when you gotta get your shorty stick.
There we go. That's it. Little more shift. I know you can shift farther than that. Don't lean your shoulders. There we go. I like that. Almost caught yourself.
When you're shifting up at the very end, are you using just your feet and toes, or you're also using your legs and straightening out all your legs?
I straighten out a little bit.
Not 100%.
All right, so here I am. You notice my knee is still bent. Watch, here I am. I'm back on this back leg. Shift. You notice the leg's still bent.
But there was some straighten.
Right? I went from here to here.
Little pop.
Remember to shift. Even on your rotations on your offside like that, make sure that you shift forward and then rotate. So if you're standing in front, I'm showing an offside. I have to be close enough to roll this offside, which also means they're close enough to roll your offside. Where is my arm? Up in the air. This is a 50-50. If they're doing the same thing, we're gambling on who is faster. I, for one, don't want to gamble anything in this sport. So there's some ways to take that gamble out. One is to make sure you know what your opponent's going to do and make sure they're not going to throw that shot when you're throwing it. The second is by making sure that you're in a range that when you throw it, I can slide in, throw it, and notice I threw an offside. If they're throwing an offside, I still have a block. Because I'm not throwing a hanging, dropping offside. I'm throwing an offside that's a little bit more linear, if not even up a little bit. And then so I'm extend high, and then I drop back down in my shot. I will warn everybody, offside is always dangerous. It's also not great for your shoulders. High offsides are not great for your shoulders. Anything over your shoulder, offside, you could put stress in that shoulder cup. So just be careful. Right, not take one. So if you're gonna throw that offside, make sure that you have to go. Remember, go to a place where you can barely touch the offside. So here I am.
Hold on, we're not on you.
Okay. So actually, I'm gonna go back to Elfwin in a minute here. So here I am. I'm gonna throw that offside. I can't touch him from here. I can't throw that offside. I'm just catching his face. I'm in 50-50, just catching his nose. So now, shift, offside. That's the pull hip offside, by the way. So, and what I mean by that is I'm pulling my hip away. My sword hip goes away from my opponent. All right? But I have to shift forward. Remember, we know how to do this. We've been practicing this. Everybody needs to work that shift. Just so everybody knows, there's another offside, and that's the push hip. The push hip is I lean and I push my hip forward while throwing the shot. The push hip pushes your blade farther past your opponent. Also tends to make more power into your opponent.
Yeah, when you get it right. It's a harder to do, in my
Yes.
opinion. So for me, it's not harder just because I'm not as good at it. But you can do it from further away for sure.
This is an example of the pull hip on the leg. Here I shift, and you glide through your opponent. When we throw that offside leg, we actually throw the push hip.
To the leg, push hip way easier.
Yeah,
Head,
yes.
push hip harder, but range longer. I don't know. It's always a trade-off.
But the biggest key in all of this is I want you guys to work that extension, that practice that we're used to. So you popped up first. So best remember, first glide over your feet. Now pop. There you go. Good. And back. Right. So what was happening is you're popping up early. Exactly. And then you give everything away. Okay. Go to Elfwin. She's doing a great job.
We're on Elfwin.
Okay. Yeah. So Elfwin, you're nailing it. See how Elfwin, she's gliding about that 4 or 5 feet, or 4 or 5 inches. Feet, she'd be incredible. And then she throws something. Now this time I'm going to make her pop up at the end. Pop up on those toes. There we go. A little bit early. There you go. And don't have to break it, just kind of roll into it. There you go. Right now you're setting it up a little and putting more that you need into it. So just go ahead and do it again and just travel and pop it up. There you go. You notice when you pop up, it's almost like your whole body is exploding, right? Yeah, exactly. Now it's like you're hitting it hard. And you're higher up if you notice. Now throw it without popping.
That's
Yeah, exactly.
I used to get Mike in the arm.
Yeah, this is a shot, right? So Saib has an example of that. She was fighting somebody last week. But
Oh, we're trying to get it back to us.
hold on. I'll be the judge.
Fighting a guy that liked to tent block. So I would do this, and he's popping that arm up. So I just pressured here, and then, yeah,
Right, and so she did that at range,
pressure, and then just
and then
flipped
she
it
popped
over.
up,
Actually, I think I still had my body over here, even though
and then she pushed up and into this arm.
I did that flip over just like Elfwin was just doing. I
Exactly.
didn't need to go up and over to the head. It was just a.
And Elfwin can tell you, at that end, when you're driving, it's like all this power driving up to your point of impact. It adds a little bit more burst to that throw. Elfwin, would you agree with that?
I think she's shaking her head yes.
I think you're on mute.
If you're talking.
Nice.
I hit the thing.
We can hear you now.
Okay. No, just when I started in the 90s, backhands were only thrown as the second part of a 2-part combo. You never led with a backhand.
Yep.
So I sat and I thought, well, that doesn't seem right. So I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to do that forward hip backhand, because there's no reason why not. It's the exact same as a forehand. You're just rolling your hand over.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
I
so
still
that
have
push-
issues- yeah,
Yeah.
I'm still having issues getting the power through. So yeah, so as soon as you said that explosive pop, that clicked in my head. And then because everything was going chunk, 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 and then I didn't have any power by the time I hit the pedal.
Right.
But as soon as you said that one word, it's like, oh, now I got it. And then yeah, it flowed.
Perfect. So that's what I wanted to cover with you guys, is like that little change it makes a huge difference. Remember, it's because now you're controlling the top. Again, a couple weeks ago, we talked about just hitting with the top 6 inches of the sword, right? And in fact, if you're having problems with it, take the blade off from top 6 inches down. If you hit with that, it's no good. That is a negative victory, right? You have to hit with the top 6 inches of that blade.
Congratulations, it's now a mace.
Exactly. So the idea here is we did that 6 weeks or 3 weeks ago, and now we're concentrating on exactly where that top 6 inches of the sword is going, and breaking. We're trying to really focus on that 1 inch gap. So that's where we're coming from here, and hopefully that's helping everybody understand. Go ahead and switch to Sivert and William. That what we're doing is we're like each week I'm just trying to add a tiny little bit more that goes back to what we practiced weeks before. You guys, Siegfried, William, you guys are looking good. You see how they're traveling forward? Good. Now, I want you guys to turn that back foot out when you strike. Yes. Even the front can turn if you want. Yeah, there we go. There we go. You notice if you turn, all of a sudden that hip really engages in that pedal and you get a lot better movement. Yes, that's the way. You see how he broke almost on top of that pedal? It's almost coming down from the top, and that pedal is probably a good foot. Well, it's a good Williams size. Yeah. So William, your goal is almost to come down on the top of the pedal when you're throwing these. Yes. That's the way. All right. So really the last thing we're going to cover today is going to be what Elfwin was just talking about. And we'll call it, Elfwin, you can go ahead and chime in. You called it, I call it the push hip. I do a pull hip and a push hip. You call it the forward and back hip. Is that, I'm guessing?
Yeah, I call it a lead, right? So the lead is the forehand, the lead for the backhand. The exact same, it's the same cross motion, right? All you're doing is turning your hand. So if I think of it, I teach it as a clock, right? You think of your thumb as your sword, you're hitting it each angle of the clock, and you're just working your way around the face, right? To do all that, 270 degrees around the shield.
Right. So
body motion's all the same.
Right. So that you notice that she's always doing what I call the push hip. So that her sword hip is always going forward. See how that sword hip is always going forward? So there is the standard of the pull hip.
Yeah. And so I call that a return because it's usually
or the return. Let's go back to her. Let's
Yep,
she's gonna show you the return hip.
Yeah.
Go ahead and show us the return hip.
So you have the lead, now my hip's cocked, and there's the return. It's because I'm returning back to my standard position.
So whatever you guys want to
cock first and then come in.
So whatever you guys want to call these, it's fine. The big piece though is the return hip is really easy to set up when you do something. In what you can actually isolate the return hip for anything you do from the beginning. So in other words, go ahead. We're going to pop the foot cam for a second. So here we are.
Hold on. I gotta find it. There.
All right. So here I am. So here's that standard pushing hip and back. Here's the pushing offside and back. Okay, again, both hips, we're actually pushing. Here's a shot that lots of people throw that really is the return hand, return hip. So they throw that. They'll throw that downward leg shot. And that hip is, they're creating this power here.
Your legs.
Okay, so here, we're gonna cut this back down a little bit. There we go, and down a little. There we are. So if I'm on Bob, I see this all the time for people wanting to throw offside leg. That's that pull hip. So believe it or not, you could actually throw a pull or a return hip to the head too. So here I am, I actually pop this out. So that's an Uther kind of shows that shot. This shot could be used when you're close to somebody. So if side is here in front of me, here I am, yeah, I can't really do a push hip because my hand gets too close to their face. So I'm hitting, my hand's hitting their sword or shield. So instead, I do a pull. And I crank that back.
Create more space.
I create more space.
When you're too close.
So when I get close, I tend to square up with my stance. So I don't have a lead foot anymore. And that makes it easier to go into either hip depending on your situation, because I only have to rotate half as far, really.
Right, so, and I do too. So, and that's a whole nother conversation on where your foot placement is. We talked about that a long time ago, and that is when you're on your opponent. Here I am. If she's far away, then I'm gonna have more extension in my feet. As I close, that extension, you see my knee is right here, still a little bit of distance, maybe a half, my toe is in the middle of my foot. When I'm here, I'm side to side. What all of these do is if I'm way back here, I can transition forward much easier. I can't transition side to side without falling over. As I get closer, now I want to be able to, I can't transition as far, but I get a little bit more side to side transitions. And then when I get really close, now my feet are pretty much even, and I get these transitions. I get these crossing body transitions.
See, and that's how it is for me too. Stance is something that, like actual formal stance is something that's sort of in the start of the fight.
Yes.
And as you're moving, stance flows and changes, much like off the, you know, I can start off with a lead foot, but eventually I end up together. My right leg suddenly becomes my lead leg. I switch my leads all the time.
Exactly, and that's actually, so, you know, the idea is that we learn what is proper, and then we learn how it changes to fit the fight. And that's what everybody, you know, and especially when we're doing all of this footwork stuff, we really have to understand that, because we're applying stuff in footwork that almost can't stay in your normal foot, you know, in your normal stance. We're doing crossing feet, and people be like, "What? Crossing your feet?" You know,
Never do that.
And you know, and they freak. Right, you know, it's like, wait, we teach not to ever cross your feet. You know, so the idea is that you understand your body and your balance better than everyone else does, and in fact, you're going to understand your body and balance today far better than you did 6 months ago. So that's what the critical piece is. So, but beware. I just wanted to add the hip thing in. We'll talk more about that later. I wanted to add the thought that there is a push hip and a pull hip, or a return hip and the standard crossing hip and return hip, right? I just want to make sure that you understand that those things can be separate, and you can think about them that way, depending on the position that you're in. So even when I'm in this, you know, that's our review. So even when I'm square here, even here, it's very difficult to throw this without hitting the shield. So again, if I pull that hip, if I pull this back, I can kind of drop it, create this dropping motion, kind of pull, almost like I'm pulling to leg, right? Now I'm just, instead, I'm pulling to the head.
It's like I'm still extending my arm when I do that though.
Oh, how do you extend your arm? You extending it out here?
I wasn't necessarily standing this close.
Oh, okay. Yes. So
I'm
you're
pulling
farther away.
so I have to extend.
Yeah.
So from here.
Yeah, there's not much of an extension, so you kind of have, like, just pull. Yes, that right there.
But I'm not going side to side with my shot at all, really. I'm just kind of.
Yeah, you're trying to push. And you can break that higher sometimes, but it's hard.
Throwing anything that close is real hard.
Yep.
Like I'm more likely to just step back and throw. But from back here, that's a nice snappy.
That's a nice snappy,
shot.
yeah, it's kind of that counter pull throw. So there's, this is, the hard part is you have to remember, you can actually generate some force onto this. I'm not quite sure how that force is really generated because your hips are countering your forward movement of your upper body. So, but you have to, I found that you almost have to be careful when you're doing that counter twist because that shot can come pretty hard.
Jerking this backwards, rotating it around here.
Yeah, you're creating that flipping motion.
The tip.
Yeah. So
instead of transferring the whole sword into them, you're rotating it around this.
Right.
To get your snap. So that is a large change in the sword kinetics versus forward.
Next week we'll go through that counter, that same push hip on the offside, and we'll cover what I used to call as the offside Molinet. We learned the inside sliding inside leg shot. We'll cover the Molinet that a lot of us throw here now. It was something that I developed a long time ago, and instead of a return hip, I do a push hip to give me distance and also create the angle my sword needs to be at to get past my opponent. So I'll show you guys that one as well, and how to use it in a fight, same stepping motions and all of that to help us learn when and how to make a person give that to you. So we'll go through that a little bit as some shots. But I think the key today is really that we have to apply that glide and pop. Get on those toes. Bang! Just as you pop into those toes, I'm popping that hip. But I really, really want to see more longer range. You're going to find, this is the hard part for people, is to create that range that they're comfortable with. Most people want to stand right in range. I want to stand right on what I call the gray edge of range. And that edge is, if I lean a little forward, my opponent thinks they can hit me. If I lean a little bit back, they don't believe they can hit me, and they tend to want to move to be able to hit me, or they actually relax because they think that we're out of range. All right, do we have any more questions? Everybody have a good practice?
Excellent job sticking it out.
Yeah, especially for the folks outside where it's hot.
I don't know about you, my arm's tired.
I don't know, it's going to be this hot all summer, so we better get used to it.
Yeah, I know.
But why?
No, I'm inside because it actually chilled off a little bit. It was
Did it really?
Yeah, well, it's been pushing 30 all week, and then it dropped down to about half that. So.
Oh wow,
And they're Americans.
Yeah, I know. I don't
know what 30 means. I know it's a lot though.
It is mid-80s.
87 or 88 type of thing.
Yeah.
Mid upper 80s.
Like, isn't it like 24 is a comfortable temperature, or is that cold?
Yeah, room temperature is around 24.
Okay.
30's hot.
That's the one I have memorized.
30's hot, 20's nice, 10 is cold, 0's ice.
I know 0. That one I've got.
I like it. I like it.
Minus 40, you're in Minnesota.
or any number of places in Ontario.
Yeah.
Kapuskasing.
Oh, yeah.
So Abelard, how do you?
I had to work in Kapuskasing for a little bit in winter. It was
Good.
very cold.
Awesome.
I lived in Northern Ontario for a while, I know.
I apologize.
So hopefully everybody got a little bit different thing today. And again, I focused on, really trying to get us back to that place where you're learning when those toes, why those toes are important to engage, right? And why the feet. Now you're adding all of that shifting and popping up motion. And a lot of this, the same with that sliding inside leg shot with the step and back, the crossing back step. With the drop, we're adding all of those pieces in. These are all things that we have been doing, but now we're adding them in and trying to demonstrate them and how to do those in how to take advantage of an opponent to do those. And that's the big part, and I've talked about this a couple times, and we haven't talked about it really in depth, only because there's a lot more talk around it than actually exercise. But probing, or the ability to make your opponent show you what they're going to do, becomes really important, and that's most of the fight. You have to have good techniques to get to that point, and you got to have good footwork. You got to be able to do it before you can take advantage of it, and that's what you guys are getting. We're all practicing here now, but we have to probe. We can't just do something to our opponent and hope they're going to be there. We want to be able to do something to our opponent that's going to, we have an opportunity to take advantage of. If they block it, no problem at all. You learned something, and either you learn that you didn't pop up high enough on your toe. You're like, oh, I didn't hit that, but I was really close. If I just pop up, I'm going to hit it this time, right? And so that's the kind of thing that in probing we learn, and so that's why I showed you a little bit of the jab step probe and the side to side foot probe type of deal. And I pointed out those are specifically steps that can help you probe your opponent and see what they're going to do. If they're going to run away, if they're going to squat and ground. Because if your opponent's going to squat and ground, that's okay too, because you could do a jab step to make them stop coming at you because they're going to ground, and then you can go ahead and walk back and get more range where you want to be. So, there's all those things that can help you in your fight. And that's what I want to make sure that everybody's aware of. So there's probably, Al-Anon I think we covered probing almost, once or twice in Coach's Corner.
Well, yeah, when the first interview with Al-Anon, it kind of came up, and that was when the discussion around that really sort of took off. So the 2 interviews with Al-Anon were the deep dive into that, and it has just come up randomly in everything ever since.
Yeah, and then in fact, I think it wasn't Al-Anon and Sven's or Sean's. They did a review of their own video.
Sean and Uther.
Oh, that was Sean and Uther did a review of a fight they had, and they talked about that fight in depth and what they were doing, and a lot of what they were doing were, I shifted over here because I saw him do this, and then I shifted over here to see if he could actually make if I could get the shot, or he covered that area. So that breaks down that fight.
Watching Sean move through a video literally frame by frame and be able to call out every 2 frames or so, okay, there's this, and I made this decision 2 frames forward. All right, so he saw that, and then he did this 2 frame forwards, so then I did this. It was literally all that fast. It's here, we're here, oh, and then I threw a thing. And it's really cool to just watch them walk you through that in slow-mo.
So I'm going to send some homework.
Recommend.
Actually, Saib's going to send some homework. But I'm going to send some homework. And we're going to, Elfwin, you're going to send us your shield handle video. And then I'm going to have Saib will send the Pel Hell video that I did for leg shots. And that one's at will. You can watch it whenever you want. But I really it's long.
You don't necessarily have to watch it all in one go.
Exactly. But the Sean, I think Sean and Uther video is probably an hour and a half.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a Coach's Corner episode.
It was a Coach's Corner episode. We'll put that one out there, but I want you to think about building the fight here, not just in what we do physically. I want you to be able to think about that fight and how you're probing your opponent and thinking and seeing what they're doing and then making decisions on the fly. Because the faster you make decisions up here, the less clouded your head is, the easier it is to execute. And so that's why it's super important to be able to get to that place. All right? Does that sound good? All right. Everyone, thanks for hanging with us. Thanks for working out with me inside.
Woo!
And we will, I'll post up about next week. I'm going to check and see if they have what they have. If we do next week, it will not be on Facebook, but it would just be with us. So, all right.
Bye, Facebook.